hopefully they'll keep the lawnmowers down. They've been going all morning, haven't had a chance to get out and talk. Today I want to talk about the most important part of our journey and what is at the heart of everything is joy. People are constantly asking me what I can do for them. I can't do it for you, but I can show you how to do it. And that is to be joyful and always joy and perspective of everything. The way to find the joy and inner peace and balance is through spirituality and connection with the plants, the animals, the spirits, acknowledging the unseen world, entities, disembodied spirits, ghosts, angelics, jinn, succubus, wraith, angels, ETs, come in forms that are cloaked and you cannot see. They're outside of our visual spectrum. I mean, gamma, delta, alpha rays, and radio waves is here. People call it paranormal, but it's not paranormal. It's just outside of our color spectrum band. So once you get an understanding that there are things around you that we deal with all the time, there are ghosts and demons that push on us, and there are relatives that have passed away that are trying to help us against these unseen entities. We got both forces pulling and pushing on us, and it's just because we can't see it because it's just outside. Just as dogs can hear a whistle that we can't, and magnetic things come together and push apart, we cannot see it, but it's there. 100% it's there. So with that in mind, you also have to realize that what we call paranormal is just basically outside of our five senses, outside of our hearing. But it is not outside of all of our senses. There is a sense known as, the technical term is scopaesthesia. Scopaesthesia is the ability to feel something on a different sense level. You feel it in the back of your neck, and it gives you that feeling of unease or fight or flight, and it causes you to turn your head and look. When you feel somebody staring at you from behind and you want to turn and look at them because you can feel them staring, that term is called scopaesthesia. So once you decide that you are going to start paying attention to things outside of your visual spectrum, then you're going to start expanding your senses, like the scopaesthesia. Scopaesthesia is a tool that you can use, like you can either ignore it or you can learn to play the piano like a master. You can learn to play guitar like a master. You can use your scopaesthesia like a master. When a person becomes blind, their other senses become heightened. That is something that humans all can do, whether they are blind or not. They can maximize their five senses. They can maximize the scopaesthesia senses, or those are internal body senses. When the hairs raise up on you because you're in a situation that just feels uneasy and the energy is heavy around you, you can feel it in your body. That's part of scopaesthesia. So that's another sense that we don't talk about, and it's barely got a term for it a few years ago, but we've all known about it. So now when we want to awaken, we understand that all these things are around us and happening. And for us to find the joy is that we have to realize that there are people around us that have dark energies attached to them that don't allow them to be happy and joyful people. It won't allow them to go in to fix their inner traumas so they can be a balanced person. So they're basically like blockages, like inner blockages. Some people can call them whatever they want. They can call them demonic. They can call them attachment. They can just call them self-inflicted. But the thing is that they still, whatever it be, they're not willing to go in and fix that hidden trauma, that inner trauma, whether it be being abused as a child, or having a near-death experience, having an ayahuasca experience, whatever it be. Um, we have to. I'm sorry, little dog. Just sit down. Sit down. What's your chin? Right? We have to be cognitive of what is around us all the time, so we can maximize our spirituality in this way. We can understand that we are being attacked by things from the left or the right, and we can't understand what it is. Once you get a grasp of spirituality and you understand these things that are outside of our visual spectrum, then you can aid yourself in living a better, joyful life. You can aid yourself in going in, repairing your childhood trauma, your adult trauma, finding balance and peace, and in finding the joy and comfort place. And then once you find that joy and comfort space, you can stay there, because there's no way that the darkness that you've risen out of as you raise your vibration up can bring you back down. So you will find joy and peace in a place. And once you get to this place, you now have the ability as a balanced person to go out and assist others properly in their raising of their energy level, their vibration. It's not a difficult thing. There's a lot of fluffy spirituality out there, banging drums and crystals and fairies, and that is a great excitement to have, but we must keep grounded in what we do. We not let excitement of everything, all the connection and us getting together, become fluffy and uncontrolled. We need to stay grounded, right? So as everybody comes into their own understanding that we're becoming this conscious unity across the globe, and we get giddy about it. So let's not do that. Let's stay grounded. Let's stay focused. Let's keep things as real as we can. Let's create a scholastic system. We need to start creating materials, just like we have in school systems that explain spirituality, levels of spiritualities, how to reach these levels. These are old lessons that are in Asia, but need to be brought here. We all know what meditation does for people, for children. So that is going to be part of your finding joy, is that meditation will have to become part of your life. In that meditation time is the times when you sit and reflect. After the first 15 minutes of just your mind just talking stupid things, you will actually get to a point after 15 minutes of, after looking at the statues in the surrounding area, it will pull your mind away from everything that you've been thinking about the whole week, the whole month, the whole year. And you will start asking yourself, wow, where did this statue come from? Or why they chose this type of architecture or this color there? And then your mind will be totally drawn away from everything that you walked into that temple to meditate on. When you walked in to meditate, 15 minutes that you started, your mind's just racing. Like I said, 15 minutes later, your mind is a totally different place. It's viewing, it's finally made it to the facility after it's calmed down and run around. Even though your body is in the Buddhist temple, it's going to take 15 minutes for your mind to calm down, to be in the temple, to be with the temple. So you go to a Buddhist temple anytime. They're open 9 to 5 everywhere. It doesn't matter what ethnicity it is. You can go there 9 to 5, sit down in front of a big Buddha statue by yourself. Just be silent. Don't say a word. Put your phone on off and just sit there with that Buddha. That Buddha will take care of you. It will talk to you. Everything will come clear. Everything that you need to focus on, that you know is truth and your authenticity, will come forward. And you will sit there and realize This is my blockage here. This is the reason I react emotionally uncontrolled here. This happened here is all the symptoms of these inner traumas, all these anxieties, these depression, these bipolar actions, these unsettled thoughts, unsettled mind. They're just symptoms of not going in and handle those inner traumas, not going, sitting down, being silent for 30 minutes, not with your eyes closed, but breathing a deep breath. Release. After you do this 3 times, that is about the moment that your mind will come into your body and be in the space of the temple. It will stop thinking about what happened in the street. It will stop thinking about the financial bills. It will stop thinking about the car payment. It will stop thinking about your girlfriend breaking up with you. It will stop thinking about, are you going to live or die? What you will think about is the moment that you are in. And in that moment, yourself, you will be able to reflect on the deepest pains. You won't be able to deny it. You'll be with yourself in sacred space. You have to go in and fix those. And my lessons on repairing yourself and restoring that balance and releasing those inner traumas, it's done like this. You have a great pain. You lost your child. Say your son passed away, your daughter passed away. And you have this great pain in your heart. And the only way to release that great pain, to find your balance and joy again, is you take a little bit out of that pain. You sit down for 5 minutes once a week, and you think about that pain. You let yourself feel it, how awful it is, how deep it hurts, how much it hurts, and you cry it out and you let it out. And if it takes an hour, if it takes 2 hours, you do it just a little bit once a week. And after 3 years, that little bit that you keep taking out once a week, by the 3rd year, if you do it correctly and you keep focusing on this and you let those pains out, you sit down once a week. After 3 years, every time you do it and you try to go in there to find that pain that hurt you so bad, it's a little harder to find that pain because you keep releasing it little by little. And it gets to a point 3 years later that the light and the rainbow comes back onto your life and it's all released. 3 years is not a long time. We all have 3 years. 3 years is a flash. We're going to enjoy the rest of our life in joy if we can give up that time. That 3 years to go in and repair the right way. Last thing I want to talk about today is, what is it, little dog? You want to go inside? My second big question is, shaman. How did you become a shaman? Well, double whammy. Let me see. First, I had typical ET encounters as a child. I wouldn't say abductions, but just communications that I felt as a child were not really strange to me. They were like very comforting, and it helped me lift a very, very heavy burden that I was carrying just walking into this world as a child. It was very heavy and hard to be here on this planet during this time, even though I had the animals to care for me, the birds and the snakes and dogs, cats, and the unseen world that would care for me. It was still heavy, but my ET connection helped lift me away from, help me as a child clear that up so I can have a clearer path from very young. And then the second part of me being a shaman, or else I would just say I would be a starseed, just if that happened, or a contactee. I would be just that. But the other part of that is that as a young child, I also spent 9 summers deep in the Sierra Mountains of California, around Mammoth Mountain, with a very large group of Chilahamche, as they're known here in Central California. Chilahamche is a Sasquatch in Native American Paiute and some of the Mojave, even far north on the valley side, Bakersfield area. The Indians knew Bigfoot, Sasquatch as Chilahamche, Ka for the boy, and Chilahamche Name for the girl. Here in Southern California, we have similar names for them. We all knew of them and in areas where they live. There are parts here in Southern California back in the day where, which is known as Baldy Canyon, this town of Wrightwood. These areas were known to the San Gabriel Indians, the Gabrielino, Tongva Indian, as places that we were not allowed to go. Human beings were not allowed into the Wrightwood area or the mountain Baldy area canyons. They were allowed to go up into those issue canyons, and all the local Indians knew that. So what happened is, when settlers came in, they would start moving into the canyons, going up in there looking for gold. And the Bigfoot weren't happy with that, and they would hurt those people. And then the American natives would get the blame for that, for those things. Of course, the European people and ranchers didn't believe the natives, so they would take it out on the natives and go and hunt natives and kill a lot of natives for what Bigfoot did to the people who were invading their area. So that's the other part of what I understand from them, is being 9 years with those Bigfoot. It helped me understand a telepathic connection, what telepathy is. They helped me understand compassion. They helped me understand equality. They helped me understand the importance of knowledge being passed down between generations. Even for them, that is so important. They helped me understand that just because we are technically advanced does not mean that we are spiritually superior to them, which we are not. They are spiritually superior to us. So I was very fortunate to receive training from both worlds, and it's enabled me to take that title of shaman. So there you have it. Last thing is, last part, I would just like to tell everybody that I know there are a lot of people, gifted mediums, that have been avoiding what other people and their families have told them they had gifts. They've been avoiding voices talking to them. They've been avoiding telling people or sharing their gifts. They spent a very hard time trying to ignore their gifts, and you people now need to let that come free. It's time for you, all of you, to embrace it instead of fighting it, because if you're fighting it, it's not going to let you to find that balance and joy. So those people who are gifted mediums, now I'm not talking regular muggle people, I'm talking the psychics and the gifted mediums, the clairvoyants, the channelers, the seers, the prophets, the other shaman who are not embracing who they really are, and they know they have they're living outside the box. They know they have other talents. They know they see things that other people don't see, and you're living a life that is heck, because you're not embracing that, or you're not finding the balance between being that person, that spiritual person, and being the financial person that is also has to provide the home and the house. That is a tough one for all of us, but you all can do it. You can all find that balance of spirituality and having to still work in the financial 3D ugly world of America Corporation. We still have to do that. That is that's a gift for us too, to be able to do that. You can do that. Come out of the closet. Stop battling against yourself. Once you realize that you have gifts, don't be afraid of them. You're going to go find somebody like me in your area. You're going to find a psychic or a gifted person, and you're going to spend time with them. It could be your neighbor. It could be a guy at the bar. It could be a guy at your church. It could be anybody. There are people that are open to being open to you if you ask them. And when you are ready to ask them and go to that place and accept the things outside of your spectrum, what is called source, all the spirits of good spirits will work with you like as best as they can, and then you'll see the synchronicities that they keep applying to you. You'll start seeing, like everybody talk about 111, 222. You'll start getting that too. You'll start getting everything, like anything that you think of, that you manifest. You haven't seen a person in a year. If you think of them and you say their name 3 times in your head, within 20 to 48 hours, that person will call you or contact you, because you get a power when you work with Source, right? So it's the joy in life is the most important thing in life. It's not money. The joy and family. Once you get that joy and you figure out how to live in peace, it's not as hard as you think. Namaste. One love to all.